There comes a moment in your life when you're standing between fear and faith, between overthinking every possibility and finally choosing a direction. Your heart feels heavy, your mind is loud, and every step forward seems uncertain. But deep inside, there's a quiet voice reminding you, decide. Just decide. Because not making a decision is also a decision, one that keeps you stuck. And maybe that's why this message hits so deeply. Once you make a firm decision, trust your Lord. Not before, not halfway, but after you've gathered your courage and chosen your path. Because faith doesn't remove fear, it gives you the strength to move despite it. You've made the decision, but now comes the harder part, letting go. Because the truth is, we love control. We want to know how everything will unfold, step by step, outcome by outcome. But real trust begins where your control ends. That's where your heart is tested, where you stop relying on your limited understanding and start believing in Allah's perfect plan. You won't always see the way, but you're not meant to, you're meant to walk it with faith. And maybe, just maybe, what feels uncertain right now is already written in your favor. After making a decision, your mind will try to pull you back. It will whisper fears, remind you of past failures, and make you question everything you just chose. What if it goes wrong? What if I'm not ready? What if I fail again? These thoughts don't come to guide you, they come to test your trust. Because real faith isn't proven when things are easy, it's proven in moments of uncertainty. This is where you have to silence the noise and listen to something deeper, your faith. Remind yourself that Allah sees what you cannot, knows what you don't, and plans in ways your mind could never imagine. Your job is not to control every outcome, your job is to move forward with conviction. Even if your steps feel small, even if your heart still trembles, keep going. Because doubt will always exist, but it should never be stronger than your trust in your Lord. There was a moment in someone's life where they stood exactly where you are now, confused, uncertain, and afraid to take the next step. They had two choices, stay where it felt safe but unfulfilling, or move forward into something unknown. Their heart was heavy with fear, but deep inside, they felt a push, a quiet certainty that maybe, just maybe, this step was necessary. So they made a decision. Not because they had all the answers, but because they chose to trust Allah with what they didn't understand. Days passed, nothing seemed to change. Doubts grew louder. They questioned themselves again and again. But instead of turning back, they held on to one belief, I've decided, now I trust. And slowly, things began to unfold. Doors they never expected started opening. Situations aligned in ways they couldn't have planned. And in that moment, they realized something powerful, Allah was working behind the scenes the entire time. What felt like silence was actually divine planning. You don't need to see the entire path to take the first step. That's where most people get stuck, they wait for perfect clarity, perfect timing, perfect signs. But life doesn't work that way. Faith doesn't ask for full visibility, it asks for movement. When you trust Allah, you move even when things are unclear. You act even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Because you understand something deeper, if your intention is sincere and your decision is made with honesty, Allah will guide your steps in ways you could never plan yourself. Stop waiting for everything to make sense before you begin. Sometimes clarity comes after you move, not before. And every step you take with trust becomes a step closer to something greater than what you imagined. Trusting Allah doesn't mean doing nothing. It doesn't mean sitting back and hoping everything magically falls into place. Real trust is active. It means you make your decision, you put in the effort, and then you leave the results to Him. You work hard, but your heart stays calm. You try your best, but you don't let fear control you. Because deep down, you know this, what's meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant for you. That belief changes everything. It removes the pressure, the anxiety, the constant need to control every detail. And in its place, it gives you something rare, peace. Not every decision will lead to instant success. Not every path will feel easy. There will be moments when things don't go the way you expected, when doors close, when plans fall apart, when you start questioning everything again. But this is where your trust is truly tested. Because trusting Allah isn't about getting the outcome you want, it's about believing that whatever happens is still good for you, even if you don't understand it right now. Sometimes, what feels like a setback is actually protection. Sometimes, a closed door is a redirection towards something better. You may not see it immediately, and that's okay. You're not meant to understand everything at once. You're meant to keep going, knowing that every step, easy or hard, is part of a plan far greater than your own. So don't lose faith just because things didn't go your way, maybe they're going exactly the way they're meant to. There was someone who made a decision with a full heart. They trusted Allah completely and stepped forward without looking back. But soon after, things started falling apart. The opportunity they believed in slipped away, people they relied on walked away, and everything became heavier than they imagined. It felt confusing, almost unfair. They wondered, did I make the wrong decision? But instead of giving up, they chose something rare. They stayed patient. They kept moving, even when it didn't make sense. They held on to their trust, even when nothing around them supported it. And over time, something unexpected happened. The path they thought they lost was replaced with something better. Something they never even considered. And in that moment, they realized, Allah didn't ignore their trust. He redirected it. What they thought was the end was actually a beginning. What they thought was loss was actually protection. And everything that once felt broken, started to make sense in a way they could have never imagined. At some point, you stop fighting everything, and you start surrendering. Not out of weakness, but out of understanding. You realize that overthinking won't change what's written, and fear won't protect you from what's meant to happen. So you let go, not of your efforts, but of your worries. You still try, you still move, you still dream, but your heart is no longer heavy with what-ifs. Because when you truly trust Allah after making a decision, something inside you shifts. The chaos turns into calm. The anxiety fades into quiet strength. You begin to feel a strange kind of peace, even when life is uncertain. And that peace is a sign. A sign that you've finally placed your trust where it truly belongs. Not in outcomes, not in people, but in the one who controls it all. So if you're standing at that point in your life right now, unsure, afraid, overthinking every possible outcome, this is your sign. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Stop delaying what your heart already knows. Make your decision. Take that step. And then, trust your Lord with everything that follows. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need guarantees. All you need is sincerity in your intention and courage in your decision. Because once you decide, Allah takes care of the rest in ways you could never imagine. So decide, and trust. Always trust.